We got Devin Haney, young superstar in the making. Are you pushing for him to get the knockout? We heard Kambosos say, it's important for him to look good. It sounded like you were kind of like set on the knockout.
I think it would be great for him to get a dominating victory, an explosive victory. Devin comes from a school of boxing which is more about hit and not get hit, which is great for the longevity of a career. But we also want to see excitement. Last time out against Linares, he did a little bit of both, which was great. And I think against Jojo, I think he'll almost have no choice but to do both. Do you know what I mean? Because he'll be there all night. And I'm expecting a great fight.
How do you feel going up head to head with Gervonta Davis Mayweather promotion?
Well, they're tomorrow. They're Sunday, aren't they? So we're not really head to head. Same weekend. Leonard didn't like my comments. Haney Diaz is a much better fight than Tank against Isaac Cruz. And I never disrespect Tank because he's a star and he's a hell of a fighter. But I'm just, give my opinion in the 50 interviews that I do. And obviously some people don't like what I say. But I think if you ask anyone truthfully, which is the better fight and bigger fight for the division, with what's at stake, you have to say Haney Diaz.
Obviously, Bill Haney does a lot of work with DHP, but what is it like as a promoter to promote Devin Haney, who's thought of as one of the most ducked fighters in all of boxing? Actually, you mentioned that Andrade. We often talk about Andrade, but you mentioned the other day that Andrade was the most avoided, but also Devin.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the progression that we've had with Devin over the last year. He's fought Gamboa, Linares, Jojo Diaz. That's a nice run. And I was worried probably a year ago that we were going to get a bit stuck because no one really wanted to fight Devin. But his numbers are great on the platform. He's driving interest, and therefore we can pay these guys, Linares and particularly Jojo Diaz, tomorrow night a lot of money to face him, because they're only going to face him if they're getting a lot of money, because he's really good. The hype for Devin is there, but he has to put in the performances. People talk about he's the next Floyd Mayweather. This is big hype, but there's a lot of similarities. But he's got to prove it against elite opposition, and the run that he's on, particularly tomorrow night, is perfect to enable him to do that.
Right. So Devin is fighting Jojo. I see that you're very excited to have Montana Love.
Yeah,
and,
I like him a lot.
Alicia Baumgartner soon.
Yeah.
What is your overall thoughts on the new talent that you've acquired with those?
We want exciting fighters, and obviously this is our American business. So if we can get young American fighters that are, exciting and edgy, and Montana's definitely that. I watched him on the Jake Paul card and thought to myself, how has he not got a promoter? We slipped in, we signed him, and he's got a tough fight tomorrow night actually. Alicia was just, she was a heartbreaker for us because she stopped one of our favourite fighters back in the UK, Terry Harper. But what I saw was a star in the process, and we're about to announce a new deal with her as well. And you as a fan, you want to tune in and it's must watch. Do you know what I mean? Tank's a bit like that, giving him props. Like, he's a must watch because he's exciting. But same with Alicia and Montana, and that's why we want to see a little bit of spite from Devin tomorrow as well. It's hard to say that because the trainer will say, "Shut up, Eddie." Like, we're not. This is a dangerous game, but it's show business. It's entertainment. Devin excited against Linares. Let's see him excite against Jojo. Montana really excited last time out. Alicia, same thing. Really, it comes down to also the punches as well.
I was looking for you after the Crawford Porter fight. I believe you were there, right? Were you at Crawford
No, I wasn't
Porter?
there. No.
Oh, okay,
no.
You must have been at the Canelo plant.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
right. Yeah.
What is your opinion as Terence Crawford told Bob Arum on the stage that he no longer wanted to work with him because he couldn't get him to fight?
I think he's right. By the way, I think Bob's done a good job with Terence Crawford. Like, Terence has never been a huge star, incredible fighter. But I think Bob's done a great job. He got him undisputed at 140, moved him up to 47, but he's done all he can with him because he can't deliver him the fights. And when you get to that stage, sometimes you're better off shaking hands and saying, we're going our separate ways, But really, the only fight for Terence Crawford is Errol Spence. Any other fight, no one's going to be interested in. And Bob can't deliver that fight. And I can't deliver that fight. So people say to me, oh, you're going to make an offer for Terence Crawford. Well, with what? He's not hitting the numbers that the purse is justify, and at the same time, I can't deliver him the fight that he needs. So what's the point in me making him an offer?
But you seem like, out of anybody, that seems like right up your alley, even though you may not
But
be
I can't.
able to
You know,
you're going to end up. You wouldn't approach him or offer him?
No, I think he's an amazing fighter, but you're going to end up having to overpay for a poor fight.
What about Triple G and the guys that are on? And not to say they're not worth it, but initially DAZN was willing to they 365 for Canelo.
But they were also. But Canelo's different. I mean, you've got talking about a guy that, you know, if Porter Crawford did 130 and you know he's doing 700-800, like it's a massive difference.
Right.
But also DAZN were breaking into the market, and as any disruptive business, you have to overspend, and sometimes you make decisions that aren't based on the valuation of that fighter. But now we don't have to overspend anymore because we've established a quality brand, a great platform, and we know that the business now and the numbers, and now we have to make decisions based on the value of that fighter. And to sign Crawford right now, unless you were putting him in a fight that delivered a huge amount of subs, you're just spending money to make a fight that Bob's been making. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel sorry for Bob, but sometimes, but I do, because he's lost a lot of money on Terence Crawford. But tough. You're in with, you know, we've lost money on Demetrius Andrade, but we believe in him and we want to get him to that stage.
Bob was pretty pissed when you put a bid in for the Teofimo fight. You ended up with the fight anyway, and then Teo was pissed at you, and he blamed you for that. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, a day before the fight, him and his team were telling us that we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and how great it was to work with us, and thank you for saving the fight. And then he lost, and then it was our fault. You know, he basically said that if it was on a top-ranked card, the cards would have been different, which is the most ridiculous thing to say. It doesn't. No. But there's a lot of emotion. Family, you know, his dad, like, their worlds come tumbling down, and now they've got to stay strong because he's a hell of a fighter. Amazing fighter. He's only had, what, 15, 16 fights, something like that. So, you know, he'll come back and win a world title for sure. But it's disappointing, the comments, because we treated him with utmost respect, and they were very happy with everything we'd done for him. Some reason they think that we had an influence. They think they won the fight. No one thought they won the fight. All right, 5% of people thought they won the fight. But I said to him, look at people's reactions to who won the fight. You didn't win the fight. Do you know what I mean? But they'll be back.
I like George Kambosos, man. He's
great,
got a
he's
great
about
personality. Has there been any, obviously nothing official, but has there been any preliminary talks, you know, assuming if Devin is successful, that they might
not really, only
work
sort of
together?
only in interviews. You know, I think that obviously he's promoted by Lou DiBella. When the time is right, we'll speak to Lou, make them an offer to try and do the fight. They're welcome to make us an offer. You know, it could be either way. But we got to get through Saturday. George is a great guy, great fight. I'm really pleased for him because he's really hustled. You know what I mean? To get that opportunity, he's changed his life. It's a great thing.
What do you think? So I wanted to ask you about Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So before his last fight, he signed a lifetime contract with you. He's unfollowed you on social media, apparently.
No. He just follows companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Matchroom boxing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's unfollowed individuals. I did speak to him.
They put a whole article on the
I
internet.
saw it. Yeah, I know.
But so with Joshua, a lot of people are wondering. Of course, the big question is he going to step aside? What's going on with the Usyk rematch?
I spoke to him this morning, and from his point of view, he doesn't really want to talk about stepping aside. It's against what he stands for. It's against what he wants to do. He just said to me that if you feel that all of a sudden we're approached this sort of route that is just unbelievable for my career, I trust that you'll mention that to me, but don't come with anything that you think I'm going to get angry about because I don't want to talk about it, kind of thing. So if we've had some very brief conversations about that with people, and if there was a route or a package that was in the best interest of his career, I would approach him about it. But in his mind, all he wants to do is fight Usyk.
How do you feel about, you just said he only wants to fight Usyk, but how do you feel about the Wilder fight? I still, me and a lot of people on our platform believe that that is one of the biggest fights in boxing, regardless of what
fight.
belt, who has the belt.
Any fight with AJ is going to be one of the biggest fights, and Deontay's just put in a great performance and really raised his stock as well, even though he got knocked out again. So he's coming off 2 back-to-back knockout defeats. Mad sport, right? Wilder's coming off 2 knockout defeats, and his profile is bigger than ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think AJ will fight Wilder. I think AJ will fight Fury. I think AJ will fight Usyk. I truly believe all those fights will happen because he's not going anywhere. He's got another 3, 4, 5 years in the sport. But obviously he has a rematch clause with Usyk, and that's what's on his mind.
What was your opinion on the Wilder-Fury fight? Did you see any improvements in Wilder's game to the second fight?
Not really. I mean, it's hard to criticise a fight like that because it was so exciting and entertaining. It wasn't the best technical affair you've ever seen, but both guys, I don't think Fury was 100% in shape for that fight. Wilder couldn't stand up after 3 rounds for some reason, but showed unbelievable heart to stay in there, and that's what people love. That's why his popularity has risen through that fight, because he got people's respect. And it was a brilliant fight, really entertaining, great for the sport. Improvements, not really. You know, I thought Fury boxed much better in the first fight, and Wilder didn't do anything different that he's done his whole career, which is, you know, sort of lose rounds but be very dangerous. And he nearly, at one point, could have won the fight.
There was a little confusion before that fight. There was an official announcement all over the internet that Joshua versus Fury was official. Apparently you told Mark Kriegel or something that it was official, and it went everywhere.
Well, it was agreed. Yeah, it was agreed. All sides agreed to that fight. Terms were agreed for that fight.
There's a lot of finger pointing after that. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, because the arbitration, you know, that still smells, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, we couldn't get that fight on. And then the Wilder fight ended up taking place.
Yeah, because they said that you weren't. Apparently, they told you that the arbitration wasn't a big deal or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Bob said. You know, Bob said that arbitration will not get in the way of this fight, and obviously, all of a sudden, it did. So, you know, it is what it is. History.
Who is in your opinion, who is the best fighter? I mean, obviously, you'll have a bias towards your fighters, but who's the best fighter in the UK, in your opinion? Actively.
I mean, Josh Taylor, I think he's a great fighter. I still think he's got tougher tests to come, but he's undisputed. You know, I mean, that says it all. Tyson Fury doing great things. Anthony Joshua doing great things. Lawrence Okoli, our cruiserweight world champion, great fighter. So many, you know, Joshua Buatsi out there is a great up and coming light heavyweight. Callum Smith. I mean, there's loads and loads of fighters in the UK, but Josh Taylor sits as the undisputed champion. Dillian Whyte, of course, looking for his shot, you know. But Josh Taylor, you know, undisputed. So he may not be the biggest star, but his achievements say it all.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So 5th undisputed champion. Let's talk about the 6th undisputed champion. I kind of overheard you say that you're a Canelo fanboy.
Of course, totally. Because I'm a boxing fan, and if you're around greatness like that, you can't help but, like, you know, people take the mickey out of me and say, "Oh, you love Canelo." I do.
Yeah.
I think he's a great guy. You know, class him as a friend. He's an amazing fighter. He takes on all comers. What is there not to like?
Does that get in your way when it comes to, you know, the urgency of making a Demetrius Andrade fight?
No,
you know, me and you talk about this every time.
You have to have something for Canelo to want, right? So you've just seen his recent fights, all champions.
Outside of being a 154 and 160 champion, right?
What do you mean?
Demetrius Andrade and Canelo were at 154.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the time to make that fight was when I had no involvement with Canelo Alvarez, and he was a middleweight world champion. Demetrius won his middleweight belts. He fought Golovkin twice. There was probably a small window to make that fight, but he went to 68. He didn't want to be at 60 anymore. So he goes to 68, and then fighting a middleweight world champ doesn't really appeal to him because he wants to be undisputed. So he does that. Now he's looking at it and go, I might want to be undisputed at 75, or I might even fight a cruiserweight and become a 5-time world champion, 5-weight world champion. You can't criticise the guy for that. You've got to have something that makes him excited. That's why I was just talking to Marco Villegas about the Benavidez fight. Now, I can't speak on behalf of Canelo, but what I can tell you is Canelo and Eddie Reynoso will make the decisions. I don't see what is appealing to Canelo Alvarez about a Charlo or a Benavidez fight other than money. Because who's Benavidez ever beat? He's a brilliant fighter, but who's he beat? No one. Do you know what I mean? And they're probably looking at it and go, well, we'd rather try and become undisputed at 75. Fight Bivol, fight Joe Smith, fight Beterbiev, or fight for the Cruiserweight World title. Do something a little bit wacky. Why would we go and fight a middleweight now? And I love Demetrius, but I have to give you my honest opinion about both sides. Demetrius would never duck Canelo Alvarez. I mean, he's dying for that fight. But I don't believe Canelo Alvarez would ever duck Demetrius Andrade. But it just comes down to what they want to do. They've earned the right to do that. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people say he should be doing that. No, fuck that. He should be doing whatever he wants to do. He's the king. He's the pound for pound king of boxing.
You once told me, you said Canelo doesn't seem to want to fight him.
To fight Demetrius?
Yeah.
Well, because at the time, we weren't getting offers for Demetrius Andrade from Golden Boy. Don't know if that was Canelo Alvarez, but it was also just before he moved to 68. And I don't think he wanted to make 60 anymore.
And when we talked about Andrade,
by the way, I don't think anyone wants to fight Demetrius Andrade.
Going on,
especially Charlo.
That's what you said last time. You said Charlo. So my question to you is, isn't it more lucrative for you if you make the Triple G and Andrade fight, since both of them are?
I mean, look, the Murata fight's fallen through now. It's supposed to be rescheduled for. It's supposed to be rescheduled for February or March. So maybe that fight comes into play.
February, March.
For Murata.
They're rescheduled.
Yeah.
Okay.
But who knows?
So other than that, who are you? Is there any guys out there that that are not signed, that you're looking to sign, that you can speak on? Or
no, not really.
What goes through your mind as far as
just
the
exciting
process?
fighters? Exciting fighters, big personalities that entertain the fans and entertain the crowd.
All right, well, I appreciate y'all. I won't take much of your time. Any last words for the people? Is there a lot of people that they enjoy hearing you talk? They may not agree with you, but you don't always have
to agree, but it'll be real. And it'll come from the heart, no bullshit. Yeah. So sometimes you like it, sometimes you won't like it, but I'll always tell you the truth. Thanks for listening.
I've got a couple of different answers from you on the Andrade, because I've asked you so many times. So.
Well, unfortunately, as you should know, that when you ask me a question over a period of 2 or 3 years, things change.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
What was your opinion on Andrade kind of confronting you a little bit in the ring after this fight last?
He does it all the time, but he knows. He's very happy with Matchroom because we've never lied to him. Mm-hmm. We've always paid him. We've kept him active, and that's all the things that he's struggled with in the past.
Right.
So
is that enough? Just to, obviously,
no,
it's all about feeding your family.
I've said on numerous occasions, it's on me, and we haven't delivered yet. But what we have done is not kept him inactive, not put him out of the ring. We've invested money, we've lost money. Sometimes we haven't lost money, but we've always kept it real with him. But we need to deliver.
Last thing, final, any predictions for Devin Haney versus Jojo?
I think Devin Haney will stop him between rounds 9 and 12.
Eddie Hearn with the prediction: Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz, December 4th, MGM Grand. Thank you.